Little teacher, I was so flustered by those words that I blushed and hurriedly packed up my things, escaping in a panic. During subsequent tutoring sessions, I never saw Shen He again until I stumbled upon a job posting for Shen's corporation. Without hesitation, I submitted my resume, thinking he had long forgotten about me. Little did I know, he not only recognized me, but also cut out my name. My thoughts were interrupted by the ring of my phone, with Shen He prominently displayed on the screen. Chen Hao, when are you returning to City A? It's 1,000 kilometers away from your hometown. I glanced at the time on my phone. Shen He, I haven't even boarded my flight home yet. Oh, Shen He quickly hung up the phone. Something was off, he was acting strangely. Throughout the Spring Festival, Shen He inexplicably sent me random messages like, Chen Hao, I can't find my tie. Chen Hao, I tried every terrible tasting tangyuan and they were all sprouted vegetable flavor, and Chen Hao, Chinese New Year is so boring. I want to go back to work. Why aren't you replying to me? I was speechless, rubbing my forehead as I stared at these messages, pretending not to see them. But the next second, Shen He sent a picture of his abs, each muscle clearly defined with smooth lines, adorned with a few droplets of water that hadn't dried yet. As I admired it, he retracted the photo, claiming it was a slip of the finger. I began to suspect that Shen He might have some serious issues. He always seemed to be messing with me, deducting my salary and now bothering me daily. I think your boss likes you, my friend suggested. I shook my head cautiously, convinced that his supposed affection was as fleeting as the shelf life of bread, probably because he couldn't function without me as his assistant. My friend chuckled, or maybe he's just acting like a potted plant, I don't know. Just as my friend finished speaking, another message from Shen He popped up, Chen Hao, which shirt do you think looks better on me? Accompanied by pictures of a leopard print shirt and a pink one. My friend fell silent for a moment, commenting, your boss has quite the fiery personality. Because of my friend's words, I couldn't focus on anything until we started work. If he really liked me, I knew I had to prepare to run, considering my primary responsibility at the company was to ward off women who fantasized about marrying him. Little did I expect it to be my turn this time. After receiving my red envelope for the new year, I stepped into Shen He's office in my heels. Mr. Shen, I need to talk to you, I said, only to be met with, Chen Hao, actually, I was looking for you too. How ironic that we're on the same page. Shen He was visibly surprised, a rarity for him. Let's go first, Mr. Shen, I began slowly. Chen Hao and I are going on a date. I want to quit. Both sentences escaped almost simultaneously, leaving me embarrassed enough to dig out a hole in the Shen's group building. He actually suggested a date with me, such a smooth talker. Shen He's expression darkened as he demanded to know the reason for my resignation. Is it because of salary or benefits? I shook my head. No, Mr. Shen. If I quit, I'll never find another job this gossipy and well-paying. Then you have something against me. I shook my head again. If I did, I would say it directly. So, why do you want to go back to your hometown and get married? Shen He was beside himself after I mentioned leaving. Ever since then, he defined petty reasons to pick on me. What kind of terrible coffee is this? It tastes like pure coffee. No drinking water in the office. It's disturbing my head. Even smiling at assistant Lee next door earned me a harsh scolding. What are you smiling at? You look like a turtle. My colleague couldn't help it. Yes, I complained about him being like a firecracker every day. If anyone left in the office, he'd go crazy. Who wouldn't go crazy? It used to be that he couldn't get rid of people, but now it's his turn to be dumped. He can't accept it for a while. Going crazy is the least of it. Right after I finished venting, Shen He suddenly appeared in front of my desk. Chen Hao, I can't find my belt. Did I forget it at your place? I'll come pick it up later. His words were extremely ambiguous, and I stammered for a while without being able to utter a complete sentence. Gossiping eyes surrounded me, so I tried to remain calm, and asked him back, what do you mean, my place? Your things should be at your place. But Shen He argued convincingly. That morning, I was in a rush and I think I forgot my belt. Sensing that the gazes were becoming increasingly suggestive, I hurriedly interrupted. Mr. Shen, are you talking about the belt that got wet when you dropped me off at home that night? No, it's not that one. I didn't go home that night. Shen He tried to refute, but I immediately covered his mouth. Then, I leaned close to his ear and threatened menacingly, if you say another word, I'll pretend to be awesome and beat you to death. Shen He shut up, but the onlookers couldn't help but stare. Chen Hao, so you quitting to become a rich wife, someone said, seemingly congratulating me but actually sarcastic. I knew I'd never make it into the Shen family store, but I am usually a coward, especially since I was leaving after finishing my handover. Thinking that less is more, I nodded in agreement. The wedding is next month. I hope no one comes. As soon as I finished speaking, someone, who had just returned to the office came back again, looking unhappy. Chen Hao, who are you marrying? Who? If I could, I'd marry the god of wealth, and I wouldn't even mind being a concubine. On my last day at work, Shen He didn't even show up. I searched high and low for the belt and left it at his door. My colleagues who were close to me were reluctant to see me go. Chen Hao, now that you're leaving, we won't hear any more gossip about Mr. Shen, one of them said. I patted their hand reassuringly. I have to leave early, or my big mouth will eventually spill all my secrets. You haven't told us yet, is Mr. Shen good in bed? They asked. I tried to recall the details of that night, but I couldn't remember much. However, based on my years of experience in deciphering hints, I should have woken up with sore waist and legs, but I felt almost nothing. No way, to prevent him from one day ending up like me, I warned him again, more seriously this time. It's terrible. TSK, TSK, TSK. I never expected Mr. Shen, who's 6 feet tall, to be a big tree with chili peppers hanging from it. I nodded, knowing that I hadn't said those words direct. As my massage appointment approached, I couldn't help but urge Mr. Shen, are you mute or something? He drank his coffee in one gulp, as if making up his mind, and finally agreed with a nod. That night was that night, and afterward, we tacitly avoided mentioning it, whether it was a one-night stand, or the relationship between a superior and subordinate. Both made me embarrassed to speak about. Now that he's bringing it up so bluntly, I feel like my blood is boiling, causing me to blurt out, it's your fault. Surprisingly, Shen He didn't argue back, but instead conceded, I am sorry. Then you're responsible. Shen He fell silent for a moment before finally saying, what do you want? Forget it. I am not marrying you. I want my severance paid too, just like everyone else. Both sentences echoed in the quiet cafe, and once again, I was embarrassed to the point of digging my nails into my feet. Shen He's narcissism was a bit too much. Compared to being with him, I preferred money. Or maybe I was more realistic than I thought. Shen He's face alternated between light and dark before he managed to spit out, alright. As he walked towards the door, I couldn't help but call out to him, Mr. Shen, you didn't leave your belt at my house that night. I looked everywhere and couldn't find it, but I bought a new one, and hung it on the door handle of your office. I'll cancel my work phone number, so don't contact me anymore. I am getting married, and I am afraid she'll get jealous. I didn't know if he understood my meaning, but Shen He froze at the door. After a moment, he said slowly, I understand. I am not a foolish man, who doesn't get it. Shen He's recent behavior made it clear that he wasn't happy about my resignation, and his frequent overtures were nothing more than testing the waters. If I showed even a glimmer of willingness, he would surely give me more and better things. But there was only so much he could give me. I did like him, but my liking wasn't enough to risk my entire life. Rather than starting a relationship that I knew wouldn't have a future, it was better to end it in its infancy. Besides, I had already meddled in his girlfriend's affairs too much, and I knew Liu Chen better than anyone. To avoid future embarrassment, it was better for me to bow out early. And since I had already received his severance pay, he would surely think of me as no different from the other women, who were only after his money. And he wasn't wrong. Men are like sand in your hand, you can't hold on to them, but it's safer to keep them there potentially. What I didn't expect was that Shen He was incredibly generous. He gave me more than I had ever received from any of my previous potential suitors, an extra 0.5 million. That was enough for me to buy a villa back in my hometown, retire comfortably, and brag about sleeping with a man even more handsome than Nemo, all while receiving money I could never earn in a lifetime. Chen Hao, I was thrilled. But before I could savor my happiness for even 2 days, I passed out due to menstrual cramps. When I woke up, my friends scolded me relentlessly for neglecting my health for the sake of money, insisting on taking me to the hospital for a checkup. Menstrual cramps were no small matter, and I needed to take good care of myself. I nodded obediently, taking my medication, and fell back asleep at home only to be awakened by a frantic knock on the door. Outside stood Shen He, Sweating profusely, eyes red, and looking a bit disheveled. Before I could even open my mouth, Shan he roughly pinned me against the door, his voice fierce. Chen Hao, don't you dare marry someone else while carrying my child. Despite my repeated explanations that I wasn't pregnant, Shan he still looked at me with disbelief. Then why were you at the gynecology department? Dude, the gynecology department is for both women's health and childbirth. Not every woman who goes there is pregnant. Okay. It took me a while to explain that I had only gone to check on my menstrual cramps. Why did your period come early? Could it be related to what we did? Shan he asked, his voice lowered in embarrassment. Why would some freak steal my menstrual cycle information? After that day, Shan he became like an unemployed wanderer, showing up punctually every morning outside my apartment building. Each day, a different luxury car would be parked on the side of the road, making my neighbors think I was a professional gold digger with a different man every day. Wow, sister, how do you manage to pull this off? Call me brother, and I'll take some lessons from you. A bald man curiously approached me for tips. My family was probably disgusted by my nonsense, but Shan he grabbed my hand and threw me into his car. The bald man shouted from behind, introduce me to the next good one. I nodded in agreement. Shan he glared at me and demanded, do you usually talk to strange men like this? He's different. How is he different? He's a top, I muttered, realizing I had said too much. Finally, Shan he couldn't take it anymore. Don't you know why I come to your house every day? Though I knew the answer, I pretended to be clueless. You're bored, I guess. Maybe Shan Enterprises is going to collapse and the boss is wandering the streets every day. Shan he was so angry that he almost choked on his breath and his eyes rolled back. I almost thought he was going to faint. How could you not know how busy Shan Enterprises is? I am risking billions of dollars in contracts just to be with you, and you treat me like I am invisible. Realizing he was genuinely upset, I reluctantly shut my mouth. Seeing my meek demeanor, Shan he sighed and lowered his voice. Chen Hao, I am pursuing you. No boy has ever liked me before, and no one has ever called my name so tenderly. For a moment, I was stunned, but I quickly regained my composure. Shan he, we're not suitable. What's not suitable? You're not married, and I am not engaged. He exclaimed loudly. Tell that unworthy guy to back off. I came first. The story about getting married back to my hometown was just a lie I made up on the spot.